And we are starting now.
You want to talk back to me?
Amber.
Thank you. Yeah. Just tell me when you're ready.
We're on. We're live.
Oh, we're on.
All right. My name is Joshua James. This is Ambre Crockett and my nephew, Kingston. Say hi, Kingston.
Hi.
Hi. What are you guys doing? You guys just got back from Colorado, right?
Yes.
We did.
How was the trip?
It was
Good.
everything.
I love skiing.
And all of your pictures looked like it too.
Yeah, we enjoyed ourselves. We find a lot of healing
I need
in
to go
the
to the
mountains.
restroom. I'll be right back.
Okay. Hold on. Shut that door. And you don't need to come back. It's okay. It's okay. Sorry.
It's all good, man. That's actually like the perfect opening because it's some of the stuff that I wanted to bounce back and forth with you tonight. So this week's episode was supposed to air last week, but we had some minor difficulties. I hope you're feeling better. One of the things,
migraine.
What's that?
I said, I wish it was minor, that migraine, but it got me.
Oh,
that one got me. So I apologize. And I appreciate you letting me do this a week later.
All good, man. I mean, anybody watching probably knows that you and I intimately know each other. You're my older sister and best friend. So I know for a fact when you say migraine hits, it's down for the count.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you guys are back. Kingston, hey, I love you. Go away.
Yeah, you gotta go away. This is some business talk. You will get tired of it anyways. Go brush your teeth. Go brush your teeth.
So last week on the Truth Revival, or 2 weeks ago with Amber and Skylar, they were talking about entrepreneurship. Actually, it was the chat before that with Amber and I, where we started picking up some momentum and a lot of people really being interested in entrepreneurship. And we just thought it would be a good idea to not only talk about our own experiences, but bring on two people who have been through, as our grandma would say, the rigmarole of getting through some of the stages of being an entrepreneur. And, you created Ambre Blends. Actually, I think one of the first bottles you ever actually produced, I was still in beauty school. So this had to have been 19 years ago because you guys are coming up on 20 years, right?
Well, technically our 20 years is this year, 2021.
This year.
Yes. And that's
my 20 year.
When we got into our first store, but it was actually that first bottle was created 4 years ago in 1997, whatever the math is there.
Yeah. You mean when you were still in Colorado, right?
Yes.
Yes. So, okay, let's start there because that's actually pretty interesting that you went straight into that, which one of the things that we want to talk about as far as being an entrepreneur and with your experience specifically, you're not only building a following and building a consumer, but you're building a brand. So it's this all-inclusiveness that kind of has to happen for this brand to really pick it up. And in my experience and all of the education that I had, one of the biggest things about building a brand is storytelling. And I know from my personal experience, and really anybody else who knows you or has followed your story along the way knows that there is a story to be told around the creation of Ambre Blends, right?
Yes.
So with laser focus, can you kind of give us some of the pinnacle moments inside of building the brand of Amber?
Well, first you got to realize that this was not something I set out to do, was build a brand. I was just having fun. I was having fun creating something that I enjoyed making, and it was making people happy, and I was using it in my practice, and then people would ask, for me to bottle it up for them, and I'm giving away as gifts. This was just a side gig that I enjoyed doing. So it was never something I never set out to build the business the way it is right now, which I now believe, looking back, was a huge
benefit.
Yes, because if you're not loving what you're doing, it's not going to be successful. There's no way it can when your heart is not in it and when you're not enjoying the process. It's the journey, not the destination, so to speak.
Yeah.
So it was never intended to be a brand or a business. It kind of morphed into that over time naturally. So as far as getting laser focus on, you're asking how I built the brand or why I built the brand?
The story behind the brand.
The story behind the brand is I was just having fun, and the brand just kind of came, Ambre Blends being Amber me, which, is my first name, but the blends are the things that I created. So it kind of, the name kind of changed over time. It was, believe it or not, Amber handcrafted herbal body care. I'm like, okay. Like,
I just snorted. It's like, let me get out my scroll.
Right. And then it was Amber Custom Blends, and they're like, shorten it again. And then it became Amber Blends over time. But the brand, it's not just a brand, it's also a lifestyle.
Yes.
So it's, it's fun. It's become a lifestyle. The brand, I think, speaks for itself over building, the business for over 20 years. We stand behind the integrity of our product, and our team puts all that love into the products, which people feel. I know they do. And so the brand, I guess, is just a lot of different things.
Yeah. Well, I know when I walk through the production building, which is where you guys do everything, the manufacturing, production, shipping, it's where your offices are. It's where you guys really do most of your creating. But what I love is when you are at the front doors of the building, you have a little display that almost does storytelling in and of itself. And in that display, you can see articles from newspaper and Indianapolis Monthly and New Beauty magazine and all of the other subscription or magazines that you guys had been publicized in, along with personal photos of you mixing these oils in the basement of your boyfriend's house and in the basement of your house. And you have a display of the different bottle variations over the years and how they've progressed. And so you guys do a lot of storytelling, regardless of whether or not you know that you are doing the storytelling. And in my experience and the education that I've had, that is one thing that some of the most reputable companies in the world talk about. You are your brand. You are the story. And I love that yours has such an organic start. And it now has this kind of the era, of the age feeling around those holistic grassroots that your company kind of started with. That you guys have always followed through with the consistency of the product, but never forgot to mention where it all started. And that was your brainchild in the basement of a house here in Broad Ripple, Indiana. I mean, that is something to talk about. And I think you guys do a great job of doing that.
Keep talking.
Does it bring back memories?
The fun story is not just how it got started, but if people only knew who I am and where I came from, it's kind of miraculous that this is happening. I went to college, but that didn't last very long. I went to, a healing arts institute. I realized after moving to, I jumped into a car as soon as I turned 21 and moved out to Colorado with just whatever I could pack in the car and my dog, not having any idea what I was doing, not having any idea what I wanted to do. I go out there, and the universe just opened up for me in a way that things just started unfolding from there. I met somebody and got interested in, the healing arts, and realized I had my own sensitivities and learned how to make natural body care products, and learned a little bit about the business by doing an apprenticeship with an herbalist, learning how to cultivate herbs and plants from the earth and using it for medicinal purposes. And here I am just having fun, but I didn't go, have the degree. I didn't go into the bank and with a business. I still don't have a business proposal. What is it called? A business
plan.
Business plan. So whatever
I don't have it.
Didn't go to the bank to get the big old loan, didn't do all that. The beautiful thing about this business is that it started with fun, still is. We grew grassroots. I got the best advice of my life when I was still doing it in my home, in my little bungalow in Broad Ripple, in a bedroom the size of my closet. I had a guy that I do business with today, full circle moment, story another time, but it's a beautiful story. Tell me, I'm going to give you the best advice. 1, enjoy what you're doing. Be so crazy about it. 2, don't take on the next thing until you're busting out at the seams. Best piece of advice I ever got. And the reason is because we've never had to borrow money other than to buy the building we work out of. But it's been so beautiful that we've been able to grow this business, take care of our people, put the money back into the business. But it only happened that way because we didn't bite off more than we could chew.
Right.
So grassroots, yes. When people learn the story of how it got started, it's beautiful. I'm proud of it. I'm proud of the way it's grown, and I'm proud of where it is today and the people that work at Ambre Blends, because you're only as good as your team.
Yeah.
So the story's beautiful, I think. And I think once people really know it, they have that connection with the product on a deeper level. And, being that it was kind of born, it was born in Colorado, but it really started in Indiana because I ended up moving back home here to start this business. People are proud of it, that it's here. People are proud that Ambre Blends technically started here. And when they learn the story, they identify with it in their own way, and then they connect with the brand or the product even more. So I get people that I run into all the time that are like, I've been wearing you and cheering you on for the past 20 years, and it's just so sweet because they said the product's just the half of it. The story is the other half.
I think the story is more than the products. I truly do. There's a story that I love.
You're supposed to say that.
Well, no, I'm saying in all of my this is one area that I love to learn about. I love to talk about. I love strategizing around it. It is yes and no. I know for a fact, I know who you are. And I know that in building Ambre Blends, you were 100% always guided by your intuitiveness. You were guided by your gut consciousness, right? And some people call that God consciousness. Some people call it your intuition. Some people call it energy. It's whatever you really want to call it. But I know for a fact that you never derailed, even if there was something on the table that was seemingly an awesome opportunity or something that made sense to your brand. And your brand was not only understanding the market, but it was being able to understand then the sub-markets. But you really drove it home once you understood who your niche was. And I think your niche was developed very, very early in the game, where you jumped on this rocket called organic lifestyle. And when you developed your product doesn't have to do anything. Now, the special thing about, I think, what you've developed are your products are overly special. But the point that I'm trying to drive home is that, with other people who might be looking at you, right? A product is a product. And if it's going to perform and it's going to be organic, sometime or another, there's going to be other products, other companies doing similar stuff. But what really, I think, has carried you along is the fact that you guys have been unbelievably loyal to your brand. And your brand is not only the story, but respect for your niche market, which were the boutiques. You guys always respected zip code rights. It was always thinking about how to help them build their businesses. It was never wavering inside of your formulas and recipes for your products. Even when it came down to, I remember you guys really playing with what you used as far as your preservative. So it's not only understanding your brand, not only having quality product, but it's also when you have a full understanding as to what you stand for, it's never wavering from what you know to be true about who you are, and who you are is your brand. I hate you. But do you know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying. I do. And I really appreciate you bringing that up as far as, following our gut, which, following that gut intuition, because that is definitely strong in me. And even when I've made mistakes, it's shown me the path that I need to get on. So even in the moments that I have made a decision or a choice that I probably shouldn't have, even though I knew in my gut, it puts me back onto the path that I need to be on. So I'm even grateful for those mistakes. But I think following your gut, which in my opinion is the Holy Spirit inside of us. I mean, it's God talking to us in our gut, just like a sense of seeing or hearing or touching. It's a sense. It's the strongest sense. And I'm learning more and more to trust it. I don't think we ever stop learning how to trust that intuition. But yes, 100% the intuition, and not just me, but of my teammates and my business partner Steph as well. She has a very sharp intuition. Yeah, she does. So, and staying true to the brand as well. So you brought something up I wanted to talk about, and I'm proud of, is that we still make it by hand. That is staying true to the brand and staying true to the quality of how it was created to be. We've had many opportunities of having someone else make it, another company, having it made in another, not that we would ever do that.
Production type deal.
Yeah. And it would bring down the cost, and it would be more profitable for us because they're making a ton of it really quickly. But we entertain it for a second, and it really just came down to the fact that the creator and my partner wanted to make sure that it is the way it was created to be, and it always will be that way. So I am excited to be able to share with people when they ask that we've never switched up anything with this product line. We've never done anything different. That amber oil, the original oil that I created, it's the exact same oil it was 3, I still don't know how to do math, years ago. So building a brand is beautiful and all, but staying true to it, I think, is what's really important.
Okay. So I want to blast through just some questions. And I try to think of some of these questions as though I was opening my first business, or if I was entertaining the idea of being an entrepreneur, or let's say somebody has a similar situation, right? They've got a really great product, whether or not they created this product, they've got a really good product that they believe in, that they want to build some sense of business around, right? So there's 3 different ways that brands will market themselves, or I guess maybe even another way to say that is kind of a pillar in which they stand in when they are marketing, no matter what facet, when they're marketing their brand. It's usually health, wealth, and relationships. Now, which of those 3 do you believe you guys stand in?
Health, wealth, and relationships?
Yeah.
Relationships.
Okay. And why do you?
Are you talking about as far as how we built our brand?
No, I'm talking about your marketing perspective, your marketing specifically.
Well, this is unique because we didn't really market or advertise. To market a scent is very hard, especially because it's something that an individual needs to experience on their bodies with their own chemistry. So It's very hard to market that in a magazine or a commercial or an ad or whatever. what we did was we just started building relationships. We hit trade shows. Steph, who is incredible at building relationships, can tell you, a client that she met that was possibly interested in the products 20 years ago and what their kids are doing and what kind of sports they are in. And, the relationships are key, I think, over everything.
Well, so relationships. So you guys, I know, from watching, you guys really built kind of belly to belly. It was going out, it was meeting, in the early stages, it was meeting one-on-one with the boutiques that may be interested in you. It was, doing some education around how to wear your products, because you guys had not necessarily streamlined a lot of the stuff that you guys do now, which is education on how you wear your product, where it's talking about, what keynotes you can look forward to inside of each of your oils, how to use some of the scents in a multifaceted way, how to express the uniqueness of an oil in having the ability of being unisex. I mean, there's a lot of ways in which you guys talk about your product.
Mm-hmm.
And most companies do that, but when you created your product line some 20 some odd years ago, I say this with all the love in the world, I remember that day, but cell phones were still kind of a foreign idea. We had not gotten into the wave of social media, of internet. I mean, we really had not. It was really kind of in the beginning and back in the late 90s, I mean, we still had dial-up internet back in that bitch, so it's just, I think that there has been a transition somewhere along the way where you guys started picking up, say, marketing your business online. So when you guys are developing content for like your Facebook, do you feel, or your Facebook or your Instagram, do you feel like you are marketing material that exemplifies health, relationships, or wealth? Like, is your imagery selling something?
Health.
Okay, so health. So your marketing is really specific in that. And then do you feel as though it probably doubles with relationships?
Yes, it's interesting with the our online business. We started that. We started that when we got into our first store, basically in 2003 is when I got into my first boutique, and I realized I should have a website. Or 2001. Oh my gosh. Anyway, it doesn't matter, but that kind of took on a life of its own. It kind of had a snowball effect. Once a store has a product and the product is getting out there, having an online e-commerce site, I think is key, so that anybody can access it once they come across something that, yes. So our website is built around, when you look at it, I feel like it's got more of a lifestyle vibe to it,
Sure,
but when it comes to carrying our products in stores, that is all about relationships to me. I mean, Steph hit the streets beating the drum of Ambre Blends back 13 years ago when I met her, going to Atlanta and just walking up into a boutique and saying, 'cause she believed in the product so much, hey, you should check this out.
Yeah.
So she did that. And then we started to finally invest a little bit money into trade shows to meet people and to build relationships. I mean, we have met so many people that we really enjoy working with, but it was relationship first, then the business. You have to be in a good relationship when you go into business with somebody, it's kind of a little bit like a marriage, you want to like the person you're working with. So, I think having a good relationship is the foundation of building a good business.
Yeah.
Relationships are everything. I mean, you can have a lot of money, but if you're an asshole, you're not going to grow your business.
Yeah. Now, over the 20 years, right? How many times do you feel like you've been in a situation where you've been faced with a gap in the market? And when I say by gap, it's a consumer or client is consistently addressing a need or a desire or a want for Ambre Blends to create something, right? And or like in the age of the pandemic, right? With masks and hand sanitizers and all this disinfectant stuff, where there's a moment there where there's a gap produced, and you guys addressed the gap and you made a product really quickly that I think is at FDA right now, right?
Actually, it's been approved and we're coming out with it at the end of the year. So you're probably the first one to announce it. Oh, wait, no, I got announced on social media. But yes, we're coming out with a hand sanitizer at the end of the month.
Okay, so
you gotta go with the flow. You gotta work with what's current too, and so that's what we did. And sanitizer is going to be a thing now. I truly believe that. I personally was using it even before the pandemic because I have 2 kids in school and they bring home germs. And so they'd get in the car and I'd hit them with the thieves oil, keep it natural, hand sanitizer. So we thought, you know what? Why not come out with an Ambre Blends sanitizer that in all 5 cents? And it's been really good. And it's a product that we wanted people to trust, because there's a lot of fear going on right now, and they want to know that they're getting a hand sanitizer that, isn't going to melt their hands off and work. And so we decided to get it approved by the FDA. But going ahead and sorry, I want to address what you're asking me because I think I just cut you off. Got excited about a new product launch.
You're good. I'm more so talking to the entrepreneur out there who wants to develop a business. I am trying to navigate through some of the beginning stages. And I think when you have a story to tell, which is your brand, right? When you have a product to represent, you then have to start thinking about, in some way, shape, or form, how am I going to market this and make this desirable to the population, right? The general whole. And so when you're looking at marketing, right, I'm just kind of backtrack through some of your experiences. One was belly to belly relationships. The other one was selling this health type of idea inside of your product, in being organic and appreciating that kind of holistic lifestyle by not putting these negative products on your body, right? Yeah. Well, in that, through the 25 years that you've done this, I'm addressing the fact that you've been approached a few times in an area where a customer or consumer has expressed a desire or a want. There's a gap there for you guys to fill, and you've done that, right?
Yes.
That is basically talking about your traditional mindset versus your innovative mindset. And in order to really keep a brand, where this is what I'm really wanting to get to, is in order to be able to build a brand that has a legacy, there has to be an ability to have that innovative mindset. And the innovative mindset is understanding the niche market and always being in front of their wants and needs, so that you are continuously building a product or marketing offers that are appreciating the niche market that follows you.
Yes. Listening to your audience, listening. I hear you say be in front of it, and I get that. With Ambre Blends, our audience would tell us, our customers, our loyal customers would tell us what they wanted to see next in the product line. So it's about opening yourself up and listening to your people, that love your product and want to see it. And so I think that goes back to relationship.
Yeah. Throughout the course of this experience for you, you really have played, the person with several hats. You're not only a boss, but you're also, you're an employer, you are a partner. Your husband runs, the financials of the business. I mean, it's when we say grassroots, it's even ran by loved ones and friends and family.
That's right.
So, I mean, you guys have really done a nice job of keeping that orchestrated well, even though a lot of us out here in normal people land don't see how much some of those moments may have caused chaos, or moments of insecurity, or feeling like, I don't know what the hell it is that I'm doing, but I know what I'm doing is right because it's good. And it has, I wish you got to mess me up. which I would like to find out more about the experience over the past 25 years. What was the most, surprising thing that you learned or came across that you didn't understand was going to be on this journey of building this brand and this business?
Learning that people will surprise you if you let go of control. People will surprise you if you let go and trust. And I held on to it so hardcore in the beginning. At first it was just Steph and I, and real quickly after Rebecca, before I had my husband involved.
Yeah.
And, I held on to it tight. But the more that people started to get involved, and my husband especially, it took me just a few years ago where I was okay with him handling, well, maybe more than a few years ago, the money of it, and signing off on things. It's like, wait a minute, did I see that yet? So I think that the moment where I realized, oh, I'm only going to be as successful as I can let go, if that makes any sense.
150%.
Yes. So letting go allowed people to show up in their light and bring their strengths. And it's been amazing to do that. I could not ask for a better team. I could not ask for a better business partner. I could not ask for a better, the director of operations is at my husband, and he does it so good. He knows how to take emotion out of it even. So that's probably been the biggest thing over the course of the 20 something years that we can't seem to figure out is learning to let go, trust. And I was surprised every time. Even today, I had my friend, the people that work with us, I call her a pillar because it was just the three of us, Steph, Rebecca, and I. Rebecca came up to me in the production room. We kind of passed each other through the production room. And she said, when are you going out of town again? And I told her, and she goes, okay, because I have some emails coming in of some constant contact content emails going out with images, and I want you to approve them. And I said, you know what? I know you can do that. She's like, I know, but I just really want you to see them. I'm like, no, but I know you can do it. I know I don't need to be there. So anytime I've really kind of let go and it's like, here, there you go. I see it come across and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. So, but it's taken some time to get there. You don't want to do it until you're ready to feel good. You want to try, but once you do it, it can be very rewarding. So I think that was the moment where I was just,
I think it's fair
a lot farther if I just let go.
I think it's fair to recognize though, that, what you developed and what you created and what you started pushing out. You even had the balls to call it Amber and spelled with your name, which I know there's amber oil in there, but when it has your name stamped on it, when it has your story stamped on it, when it has your reputation stamped on it, it really matters the hands of those that it gets ushered by, and I think that everybody who was a pillar or has some high responsibility placement with Ambre Blends has been extremely vetted, and that person has gone through an experience or experiences where they live up to the loyalty and the the non-disclosure aspect of your business. It's really important that trust is built. So I don't think that that's necessarily anything wrong per se, that it did take time, that it did take experience, that people did have to create experiences where you developed trust as a result for you to be able to say, I know you can handle it. I trust your vision because we are in alignment. So for people who are building a business or thinking about stepping out as an entrepreneur, that does not go easily handed. It's okay to protect your brand. It's okay to have that worry system. It's okay to pay attention to the vibes that you get from people that you are in relationship with or in business with or in partnership with, whatever you want to call that, and trusting that listen, man, their energy is funky and I don't want that shit next to my brand. I mean, it's okay to be a hustler, you know, for yourself.
Yes. And it's okay to, I mean, there's been a few hiccups along the way. It's interesting when you create something, a business that takes on a life of its own. It also, you have to trust that it also will find its people, you know, and this business has done a good job of that. There's been a couple moments where, you know, the business went through a little detox, you know, and had to let go of some people that were, you know, no hard feelings, that were just not in alignment, right?
Yeah.
Because we've created such a culture at Ambre Blends as well. Like it's a second home to people. They love to go there just as much as I do. They care about the brand and the products just as much as I do. We do yoga together once a week. We take vacations together, and they bring their husbands, or there's a couple men working now, so their significant other. And we all enjoy being together outside of the business. We're like a tight, and it's not just family, it's close friends. And some people, you know, one person I met for the first time at Ambre Blend. So it's a family, but it's not been perfect all along the way.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. And so,
well, I think what you're speaking
bumps, sorry, in the speed bumps, in the little hurdles we've had, it's only made things stronger and closer.
Yeah.
So it's all been, I think, divine purpose, but there has been hiccups, and it's okay. It just I am more grateful for today for my team than I have ever been. And, but it takes a few hardships to get there.
Of course. And so are they hardships that were ever not worth it?
Oh no, it's all worth it, because there's always a lesson in it. I had a lesson keep coming up, and you helped me work through it, not just a week ago, you know, and it may seem personal, because it's very hard to separate business and personal. It's all personal. It's all personal. But anyway, but yes, yes.
So in cultivating the culture of Ambre Blends, you in turn represented your brand and almost simultaneously did the two of those things without really recognizing the difference between the two, which I think is really special with what you've created in your business. And I think anybody who has a place in your business, which is really a place in your heart, is anybody who jumped on board with the Ambre way of cultivating that culture to be an uplifting and prosperous experience on all the fronts. So I think that's unbelievably important. And I've also witnessed how you guys have, as you've grown, but even from the beginning, you were always looking at how to scale your business to operate for you or with you. And you also monetized everything that you guys did through the building of that business to really work to your benefit. But I don't know that you guys really ever knew that you were doing that until later in the game, when it really started to matter. And so with monetizing and scaling your business over and over and over and over and over and over, I mean, you guys are constantly doing that. You really are. What is something for the newbie that is thinking entrepreneurship, I want to develop this? What is something through that experience of scaling your business or monetizing your business that you could give them as a heads up? Hey, I wasn't really prepared for this, but it cost me a lot of money. Or I wasn't really prepared for this, but it set us back a few steps. Or I wasn't necessarily prepared for this, ... Was there anything that kind of smacked you in the face when you were going through the process of monetizing your business that was a surprise to you?
I can't think of any surprises off the top of my head. I know that sounds crazy, because I know there are some. When you're enjoying the journey, this is going to sound a little crazy, but when you're enjoying it, it doesn't seem to come as a surprise, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
I would say to the entrepreneur, if they're thinking about building a business or building a brand or wanting to get their product out there, I mean, the first takes passion, and a lot of it, and talk to people. Talk to people that have built businesses that are people that you trust, that has some advice that they can share with you, because you'd be surprised what that little piece of advice does. Like I shared the piece earlier. That's the foundation of our entire business. That is one major reason why I feel like Ambre Blends is successful. So don't be afraid to talk to somebody and to get advice from all different types of businesses and how they grew. I found it a surprise, now that it's coming to me, that you do not have to borrow a lot of money or have investors to build a successful business. As a matter of fact, try not to do that. I found it a surprise that you can do it with nothing. You can start from nothing and build a successful business. It almost makes me cry. I'm not even kidding.
I can see it in your face.
Yeah, it's just because it's special. Really special. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know from, building a business, when I've borrowed money to expand the growth of my business, or to expand the building, even to support my employees, there's nothing like that heaviness over you when you owe money.
Yes.
When you are looking at your bank statement at the end of the month and you say, this was my bring in, this was my expense. And then you have this little portion down at the bottom where you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
I owe I owe money to so-and-so for this amount of money. Yeah. It almost just is like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
So you're saying slow and steady wins the race, not aggressive and aggressive.
Here's a cute story. I was a massage therapist when I moved home from Colorado, right? So I'm upstairs in my bungalow in Broad Ripple in a bedroom that doesn't have any subflooring. I'll get to that in a minute. Working on my clients. I built a great client base where I trusted everybody, and I ended up having it out of my home. So this was about a decade after I created the first product, if not a little longer. Met Steph, Rebecca. They're coming over after they get off their jobs. They're coming over, going down into my 300 square foot concrete basement. I'm hearing the blender going because Rebecca's whipping up a batch of body cream, and I hear Steph on the phone talking to a customer or a store trying to see if we could send them some samples. Meanwhile, I'm upstairs massaging, and in between massages, I would go down there and help Rebecca get that body cream into that jar, go back up for my next client. I mean, grassroots, slow and steady. Use your money if you can. Take it slow. Enjoy the process, because that was not that long ago.
I'm giggling because I remember the story of you talking about how you were massaging a client and Steph is downstairs listening to like gangster rap on the radio, and it's like the lyrics are coming up through the vents and you're like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. And so to come full circle, here it is. We are talking about don't go into the next thing until you're busting at the seams.
Yes.
You literally moved your business into your home and were operating your 9 to 5 while simultaneously executing your joy and your passion, knowing somewhere in your gut consciousness that the day would come where you would be successful enough that your baby brother would ask you to come online and do an interview with him on his Truth Revival page.
I know, for the second time. I haven't said anything about my crazy hair.
Well, you're the biggest celebrity I know anymore, so my cool days are over. I don't have so much street cred.
Oh, hey, where do you think you get your coolness from?
Girl, I know that's right.
I love you.
All right, well, this was awesome. So, I've got a page full of notes here. We've touched on a lot of the stuff that I really wanted to talk about, but at the very bottom, I almost just kind of wrote this without even thinking. It's like my biggest problem is moving and stepping fully into the place that with my certainty and clarity, I can get the job done. And the notation that I put at the end was just do shit. It's just be in action.
Just be in action. Yes. Just be in action with your passion.
And be okay of tripping and falling on your face and getting
Yes.
up and trying it again.
Like I tell my kids, there's no such thing as a real mistake. They're the best mistakes. Mistakes
Yes.
are okay. They're going to put you where you need to be. So be grateful for those, even though in the moment it may be like, oh no. Oh, like I can't believe that happened. Oh no, I'm glad that happened because now I know. But I love that. Be in action with your passion. Show up, do something every day. Even if it's whipping up a batch of body cream in the basement with gangster rap.
Well, and to close this out, I love what you said earlier too. You're like, how did you say it? You said something to the effect of, if you had known me early in my years, it would have been hard to have seen this outcome simply because of experiences and limitations that the world and we put in front of us, as though we don't have what it takes or we're not enough to step fully into the light. And
The world.
Yes.
The
Yes.
third dimensional world, not the spirit world. Yes.
Yeah.
And those limitations can be debilitating. They can hold you down.
Well, it's exactly what we talked about in your bathroom a week ago. I said, it's the meaning. We have to reassign the meaning that we give something.
Yes.
So if we say limitation, it's a limitation. But if, people like yourself and people like myself who don't have traditional background education, Ivy League schools or college in general, we had trade school experience. That does not mean it's a limitation. It's only a limitation if that's the meaning that I assign to the experience.
Right.
So
an opportunity.
Right. Just reroute it.
Yes. I love that. Yes.
Well, listen, for not only myself, but for anybody else who might watch this video or who might be watching right now, I say this truly with no humor involved. Thank you. You are an inspiration to more people than you will ever understand. And because you said yes and stepped fully into the light of your life, you have directly given so much permission to other people to do the same thing. And you have no idea the wave or the magnitude of the ripple that you've created on this planet even so far. And so it's just been a total joy to watch you, and I love you and thank you.
I love you too. Thank you. That was very sweet. It's been a pleasure and it's my honor. I love to share this story.
Especially with me.
Especially with you.
It makes me feel like I'm a little kid again when you say things like that. All right. Well, that is it for this. This is my sister and best friend and creator and owner of Ambre Blends, Ambre Crockett. My name is Joshua James. This is the Truth Revival at 7 p.m. We are signing off, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks with Amber Fields and I. You guys have a great night, and we will talk soon. Namaste, bitches.
Namaste. I love you.